Welcome to Silicon Valley Successes. We interview experts and entrepreneurs to give the world access to the knowledge and experience that is here in Silicon Valley. Our mission is to create opportunities for those who seek them and help you to become the next Silicon Valley success.
A smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. On today's show, we have two serial entrepreneurs that have made a lot of mistakes in their past, but have done some amazing things. So luckily, we're here today at Silicon Valley Successes so that you can learn from these life events and they can help you improve and make progress in what you want to do. My name is Sean Flynn. I've been in Silicon Valley now for a number of years working with accelerators, incubators, angel groups, startups, dabbling a little bit of everything. And there's been many times that there's been knowledge that I wish I had. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guests today, Jason and Sergio. Jason, could you start by please introducing yourself?
Yes, definitely. Hi, my name is Jason Ney. Definitely a serial or entrepreneur evangelist. Definitely been born here in the Bay Area, born and raised. Have several startups within fintech, travel, hospitality, healthcare, medical, all within AI, machine learning, blockchain, IoT as well. So yeah.
Nice. And Sergio?
So I came from Argentina 2 years ago, actually born in Argentina and came here 2 years ago to the cradle of tech, like engage with all of what's going on here. And I've been involved with tech and startups since like many years ago, and when I left my branding and design background behind and jump into this crazy world, but very exciting.
So first question for both of you. Jason, if you want to start with an answer, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, so the companies you've had in the past, you've mentioned you've had several.
Correct.
At any time, did you have to pivot with any of those companies? And what was the decision to pivot? Why?
Definitely, pivot is really fundamental in terms of having a startup, especially within the learning curve and particularly the resources. So in terms of pivoting, it makes sense because in terms of team or development or market research or even launching your own product into the market, and you have to see how it fits within the users and the clients, and you have to definitely have to pivot to make it work. Sometimes there might be some competitors or maybe the team might not work. So pivoting is really, really fundamental, and a lot of people don't really realize how important it is.
Actually, let's go back. So I forgot to really even define what pivoting is. Okay. Jason or Sergio, do you have a good definition of, in your mind, what it is to pivot?
Well, I would say, first of all, it's like change, adapt. So you learn, you understand what's going on because you have like certain kind of like assumptions, and then you realize that the things are not how you expect that are going to be.
Okay.
So you need to change. So let's say I go in that direction, that's my long-term vision, and probably I'm going to keep going in that way, but in that way, in that path, maybe I need to change lane. So I pivot, I like move myself from the path I was going to. I might be like keep going in that way, but in a different way, but not so different. So I'm not changing entirely what I was doing or what I was going to do, but let's say change.
Yes.
It's a good like.
So would this change just be, okay, what we thought we were going to do for the next month or 3 months, we're going to do something completely different? Or could this change be, we were going in this direction, now we're changing the whole business plan and everything to do this? Are those both possibilities?
Well, I would say that maybe depends on what you learn. I think that pivot can be like anything. You can change the customer, you can change the target, you can change how you introduce your product, because you realize that the way you are like showing it, you are introducing the product to the customers is not the right way. Maybe you believe you have like a customer fit, and it's not. So maybe you just pivot how you say it to a different kind of like people, or maybe like a target. That's a very marketing like concept. So I would say that can be like mostly everything in a company from a big point of view, or maybe it's some small pivots.
So you're saying maybe the marketing department alone could pivot, but the rest of the company stays the same. Is that
Well, I believe that yes, you should have a clear vision of your business and where it is headed. The vision is very, very important. Of course, you want to focus within the present term, but you have to see the future vision. And once you see the future vision, that's why a lot of startups or even companies, they kind of make that mistake and kind of tend to forget about the vision because they're too concentrated within the presence. So you want to make sure that you focus within the future terms of the vision, and then while you're pivoting, right, it can be in different perspective of the department. However, the vision is always clear. You could definitely pivot in terms of the market or even make additions to the product to fit in the niche of the market. So once you pivot in that direction, then it makes more sense, and a lot more clientele or even users will be more entailed to use your product.
Can you tell me about planning a pivot or the strategy behind it? What's the thought process?
I think
is that too much?
No. Maybe something, I don't know, Jason, maybe you can help me with that, but I think that maybe something that you cannot like foreseen. It's something that just happened because it's this lean process when you learn something.
What's the lean process?
Oh yeah, lean. It's like, okay, you do something, you present it, you show it to your customers, you get feedback, you learn. So from this learning, you need to change, to adapt, you present it again, and so on. So it's like a positive circle of like getting better and better what you're doing to get the right fit for your customer, because at the same time you're looking for a long-term vision, not stuck in certain kind of features, because if I'm stuck in certain feature, I believe that feature is going to like crush it, it's going to be amazing. But if I lose the long-term, the big vision, as Jason said, I'm focusing in something that the public might not be interested, maybe today, maybe in the future will be, but to get there, I need to learn from them today. That's the lean thing. You get there learning and changing and adapting, so pivoting somehow.
Yeah. So it's more so within, just to piggyback of what he was saying, also to have a strategic plan and strategize as well as pivoting while you're doing it. Giving an example such as chess. Once you're about to move a piece, right, or make a move within the market or within your business, you always have to see the other
components.
Components, in terms of not just competitors, but what's going to happen once you make that move. What are the other things that is going to be in place, and then how are you going to take your next move? So then you kind of foresee it already, but once you make that move and such and such happens, then you already kind of foresee it, then you kind of pivot it to make the right move and you learn from it. So that's a really good example about that.
For startups, early stage companies, the teams are very small. Who's making the decision to pivot? Is it the founder, the team, potential investors, feedback from customers? Who's kind of guiding this?
Well, I believe it will be more on all sorts of factors that you will make a decision, because it shouldn't be solely yourself as a startup, because I'm previously my ex-business
tell as many
partner,
real life stories as possible, but then alter the names.
Okay, I'm going to say ex-business partner. He or she may have made most of the decisions, and even when we already got a lot of information and feedback from the market and what the decision should be, which would make more sense, he didn't even listen to any of us, and he just made the decision. Then after he made this decision, he finally realized that, you guys were right. So that actually cost us a lot, time, money, and so forth. So if best way to put it is to actually have everybody cohesively be within the team, and we all make the decision together and see who, to make it correct.
So in a situation like that, so you had a team of 3. 2 people wanted to move forward in one direction, and one guy overpowered the other 2 and was making all the decisions.
Yes. Yes.
What happens
That's
in
hard.
that? I mean, if it's such a small team, I mean, everyone's doing everything. In some cases, do you think you would get rid of that one person from the team or replace that one person or separate the company or just go, hey, you know, he wants this, even though we don't believe it's the right way, we're still going to follow? Like, how's the decision process there? Why did he get more power than the two of you guys? Did he put more money in? Did he just yell more? Like, what happened?
So what happened was that he actually burned a lot of money. To be exact, about 2.5 million. So
Okay.
that's where
That means
it becomes more real. and then we had to pivot probably like twice quickly to get him out of the equation and try to, catch up on everything that we had, kind of put forth on into the company. So that's just a huge, huge learning curve that's not to do. So
What
it's
did the
good
investors say during this whole time when they saw the money being burned?
Oh, don't want to talk about that. They actually, well, of course they were upset, and we just had to learn from our mistakes, kind of made sure and talk to investors, make sure that we're going to, kind of make it right, and this is our strategy and plan moving forward, and what would be that strategy plan. And that's how we kind of pivot on the right direction to move forward, so then it will be much more successful.
Sergio, have you heard any stories of a team that didn't want to pivot or pivoted in the wrong direction, I guess?
In the wrong one? I'm not sure. I remember a good one.
Okay, tell the story.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you are familiar with that. It's like when Facebook started growing, many people know about it. It's like Zuckerberg get the entire university under Facebook, and he wants to add new universities to the network. But nobody wants to add somebody else from outside because they believe that that university was like an elite thing. So he said, when did you make the decision to actually listen to like investors, customers? When? So sometimes you have to follow your gut or don't. So this guy, Mark, took the decision to bring more universities in, besides what all the people in the network said against that. But more people he brought in, the network grow better and stronger. So going back to what he said about, okay, we need to hear everybody, but if you have the long-term vision, what do you want for in the long term? I would say it's a kind of pivot. This network started like a small thing for one college, one university, and then they start like changing and adapting to make it like bigger. So they change, well, hey, let's go for more people, how we can make it happen. So they grow based on exactly that, bringing all of these people against what the people they already have in the network didn't want to. So it's a weird thing. It's, well, I need to listen, I don't need to listen, but if you have like a strong point of view and you don't have like to fight against like 2.5, I would say, well, that's why you said like a CEO with certain kind of like stocks and wherever the founders in certain point, you need to like vote to pivot or to not to pivot, and well, straightforward. But going back to your previous question, when I say, okay, these guys need to go move out, split the company or don't, I believe you should have like a strong team. That's the more basic thing. Yes. And if we all agree, let's say we are a team, we all agree, okay, that's the vision. And sometimes maybe you need to pivot to get there, evenly knowing that that is not going to be your real like business. So we get there changing here, but still knowing that we want to get there and we're going to change again.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's something that the LinkedIn founder said many times, is you do things that doesn't grow to get there. So it's like
Interesting.
yeah.
Very interesting. And if you want more information, you can visit our website, siliconvalleysuccesses.com. Once again, that's siliconvalleysuccesses.com, where we have all our episodes, information, and a lot more resources for you at home. So back to Jason. Question for you. Okay, we've talked about pivoting. We've talked about your team. What does a team meeting look like, kind of the planning of a pivot? Are there step guidelines that you follow? Do you normally plan, CTO does this, CFO does this, I do this for the next week? What does it look like for someone that's not in that room?
Well, it kind of looks more, of course, we're trying to make it more fun and not too serious, of course, but everybody first, of course, realizes the vision and knows what to do, but it's very important to have a strategic plan, and then we kind of outline it. Before any meeting, it's very crucial to also have an agenda. What we're going to discuss, what we're going to talk about, and we're going to have all the team formulate in the same room. Then most importantly is to write everything down and outline it. Once you write things down and outline it, it becomes more tangible. Everybody likes to see much more, instead of intangible things, they like to see tangible things. So you see things guided within the outline. So what my task would be, what the CEO task will be, the CFO task will be, the CMO task will be. Then you spread it out to their specific task and what they're going to be targeting to achieve and execute to the given vision and given path that we're going to go for.
As a startup, would you say you have to be kind of self-managing versus being micromanaged? I mean, because there's no one on the team to really manage, even though there is that CEO structure, he's at the top. With just 3 or 4 people, everyone more or less is equals, correct?
Right.
So who manages who, and who really can push or drive the team?
I believe it's more having the discipline for each other to trust each other as a team, to know what are the tasks and what are each person's duties are. And if they don't do it, then all 3 of us, will have to be accountable for each other's. So like, oh, you didn't do it, like what's going on, how come? And then you have to definitely have to have a transparent kind of discussion. And once you have that, then you can actually flow towards the right direction. I don't believe that it should be just one individual. I believe because everybody have their own talent or experience and expertise. So then once we formulate and work all together, and not micromanage each other or anything like that, then it actually becomes much more successful, and we could proceed to the next level.
Has anyone been in that situation where maybe the company you're thinking, maybe we need to pivot, but in reality, you just need to replace someone on the team?
Yeah.
What happened there?
Totally. Well, a guy,
hypothetically speaking,
Paul, let's say, for argument's sake, in a team of 3 or 4 people, we realize that certain position, we have a person that for certain amount of time and in certain path of growth will work and is going to like fit that path in that very moment. But in certain moment when the company like have like a quantum leap, we need to jump forward. That guy maybe wasn't the right fit there because he wasn't able to catch up because of the needs of the company. So great opportunities came up, and he's like, okay, this guy, John, not Paul, is like, okay, how can you handle this? Can you do that in this amount of time? We have an amazing opportunity, huge situation. Okay, let's take advantage of it. But he couldn't catch up. So as a company, as the people who wants to move forward and maybe need to like less sleeping hours, like sacrificing like entertainment, because this is what you do when you go for a startup. You spend your own like entertainment, rest. So if somebody is not like open to do that, and when you realize that you have like amazing chances to like actually succeed, and at least like small successes, you need to find a way to move forward and bring somebody who can actually be at that level for this next stage of the company.
Interesting. And actually, both of you, Jason, can you talk about currently the project you're working on? And then Sergio, could you tell everyone a little bit what you're currently working on?
Yes. One of the projects that I'm working on is definitely a travel hospitality type of application that to help people to understand what are those type of resources within when they travel, so they can actually utilize those resources as if they were a local. And they actually tailors within the restaurant to the hospitality industry to a lot more events and kind of festivities, so they know where to go within also their own language.
Interesting. Sergio?
So cool. What I'm working, it's a startup. What we are doing is trying to move the networking process into the 21st century, trying to connect people, but based on artificial intelligence. So you can start getting like connection based on real interests and backgrounds, and everything starts from we're changing the way people like shake hands and introduce themselves since the very moment when you exchange a business card, like something that's going on from the last like 400 years. So we are changing this like human behavior, and it's going to take some time for sure, but we are moving this interaction from a paper business card, a printed one, to a phone, a mobile phone, like everybody has a phone. So from there you are exchanging your contact info, and from there we start building a network that you can like get like real benefits of it.
And why do this and not work at a corporation? A huge, nice, comfortable job, 9 to 5. Why?
It's boring.
Well, for me, working within a corporation didn't work. I could tell you up front, is because my leadership and my management or directive skills were more cohesive within the team. So what happened was that countless times where the management would be kind of jealous and kind of upset because all the other employees liked my management or leadership style better. So they were just got rid of me, and I was like, okay, so. So that just was one of the main things, because I was more entrepreneurial, definitely wanted to start my own startup or my own business, and wanted to work together as a team and to be that leadership and to present myself in a way where I not just roll up my own sleeves and get the work done, and but not just telling people what to do. And so a lot of folks, or a lot of my colleagues, love that, and where I would be replaced because the upper management would be too jealous or something. So that's just my own experience.
So far today we've talked about, and add some things if I miss them, pivoting in the importance, how sometimes the team, there might be one member that's good at one stage of the company but not good at another part that might need to be replaced. A lot of the decisions, even though it's a small team, is done by voting or working together. Agendas are very important for the meetings to make sure time is used wisely. When your company doesn't pivot, you might have issues with the investors and have to talk to them. But if things are explained to them, it might actually work out. They might still back you and want to move forward. We talked about a lot of things today. Is there anything that we missed? Or what advice would you like to give you 2 years ago?
Well, I would say that always you have to listen, but listen in a proactive way. It's like sometimes you feel like you are listening and you are maybe just talking with somebody explaining your idea, as I just did, and you're actually more focused in what you're saying that actually actively listen what you have to say from it. And of course, you cannot change or pivot every time you hear something from somebody, because it was like you never like get on track. It's impossible. But you need to it's like, okay, if I heard that feedback from 1, 2, 10, 20 people, what's going on here? I need to okay, said this, okay, what's going on? If there's so many people saying to me something in certain way, okay, that means something, because I'm not building a product for myself. This is like an artist. I can like draw a picture, I'm an artist, and if you like it or you don't, it's not my thing. I do my feelings, okay? I express myself in art. But a product is something that you want the public or your customer to use it, to buy it, to engage with. So if you actually don't listen what they have to say about it, but again, it's like really listen and do something about it. And this is mostly something about like leaning and pivot. It's like learn from, or maybe it's not just the customers, listen or dig into history. Okay, other companies in my space, what happened with them? Why they changed? Why they failed? Why they were acquired?
How much research do you do into other companies?
I myself, for this, what I'm doing now, a lot. I try to learn from the successes, but also from the failures, mostly from the failures. And for example, from some acquisitions, some companies in my space, they were acquired by big companies, I'm not going to say. So some people might say, oh, that was a great success. Well, probably in meaning about money, maybe yes, but you need to learn from there.
So with that, Jason, can you tell the audience one more time how they can reach you, the best way to reach you, and a little bit of your company one more time?
Yes, they can reach me at my email, jnyeh@ezine, EAZDINE.com. And again, is within the travel and hospitality industry.
Sergio?
You can reach me at my email. It's Sergios, like a lot of Sergios, in plural, at redlinesapp.com. And what my company is doing right now is trying to change all the network and interaction from people from the last 2 centuries to this one.
All right. I'd like to thank everyone at home for viewing this episode of Silicon Valley Successes. On our next episode, we're going to have 2 special guests, Irma and Caesar, who will talk about diversity and inclusion in the workplace. And it's pretty fascinating episode we have coming for you. So once again, thank you. My name is Sean Flynn, and have a great day.
Thank you from all of us at Silicon Valley Successes. We hope you found the information presented today useful in your path to success. For further information on accessing the resources in Silicon Valley, you may visit us on the web at siliconvalleysuccesses.com, on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you. And remember, we want to help you in your journey to become the next success.